are some of the most challenging vowel sounds in American English that I've seen after teaching thousands of students? Well, today we're going to be taking a look at two of them and explaining what makes them more challenging and what can you do about it if you're running into these same issues that many other people who have learned English run into. All right, guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the Schwa Mill. This is your American English Pronunciation Review show. We are here Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, right around 7:30 in the morning, New York time, to make sure that you can get in your pronunciation practice. And to guide you in this process, there is me. Hi, my name is Geoff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of the 4 keys for natural sound in American English, including things like placement, pitch, breath, trying to weaken your consonant sounds or strengthen your vowel sounds. And today, again, we got 2 vowel sounds sent to us, as always, by members in our community for free. So in case you don't know, we have a Telegram group, a free Telegram group, where people can send in audio files, and I select 2. And we use them during our streams, and people can also ask questions and things like that. There's a link in the video description if that sounds like something interesting to you. And I do want to give out a quick shout out to our sponsor, which is actually us as well, because we have also a full Telegram group where you can send audio files to us daily and get feedback for those daily. So the free one, we pick them for the stream, so pick 2 files per stream. And then the full one, we look at everyone's files every single day. Okay, if you want more information about that, again, you go to fluentamerican.com/telegram. Let's take a listen to our very first file here.
A, play, A, same, A, game. They play the same game daily. They play the same game daily.
Okay, this very first vowel we're taking a look at is the A sound. This is in words like say, take, game, things like that. I actually really like how they're pronounced here. I wanted to use this as just a demonstration of what you want it to be sounding like when you're pronouncing it on your own. Let's listen to this once more.
A, play, A, same, A, game. They play the same game daily. They play the same game daily.
Especially like in those sentences there. So what makes this A sound particularly challenging is that it's a diphthong. What that means is there's 2 sounds that are kind of combined into one. And the way that it happens in many other languages is you hear the transition between them very clearly. Like, for instance, in your first language, you may pronounce more like a, where you can hear that sound that then transitions to that e. Okay, you can also hear that the placement goes pretty high, and sometimes in languages the breath gets very restricted. A, that's very tight. Versus the American English version, what we're going to do is we're going to take those 2 sounds but kind of compress it, squeeze it into a single space. And so instead of doing like a, it goes just like a, a, a. So for instance, the very first letter of the alphabet in English is the letter A. Notice that's not A. It's not the letter A. It's the letter A, A. You don't need the exaggerated mouth movements and things like that. Okay. The danger of those extra mouth movements, if you add them, is it can cause your placement to go high, and it makes it easier to get to that A type sound where we want to just stay A. There's a couple other potential issues with this A sound that can come up. She has some example words here that can be very tricky. Let's listen again.
A, play, A, same, A, game. They play the same game daily. They play the same game daily.
Okay, so firstly, she has words, for instance, like game, which can be a little bit tricky, which can surprise some people because what some people are doing is when the A is linked to other consonant sounds, they're shifting it so it becomes gay, or things like that. We don't want that. We want to go right from the A to the M without adding any extra vowels in between. It's like A, aim, game, A, aim, game. It's not A, am, game. Okay. We see this with other letters as well. We want to watch out for like when there's an N sound. A common example I use is like a word like pain. Pain. For pain, we want to make sure that we're not saying pain. It's pain. Pain. A, pay, pain. A, pay, pain. It's not pain. It's pain. Okay, so watch out for that. The last thing I'll say about the A sound is that the A is a long vowel. that doesn't mean it's held longer than other vowels. All vowels are the same length. Okay. What it does mean, though, is that when an L sound comes after the A sound, it's going to break and it's going to sound like all. You're going to add an all sound after the A when the A comes before L. Just like in words like sail, whale, and tail. Okay. We can hear this, for instance, when she says the word daily. Let's play that again.
A, play, A, say, A, game. They play the same game daily. They play the same.
Daily, daily. She could even add a little bit more breath at the end of that E sound if she wanted. Daily, daily. So it's not daily. It's daily, 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 daily. So again, words like pale, fail, whale, sail, male. Notice that all of those end on the L after the A sound, so you want to make sure you have that break. Ale, ale. Okay. That's our first file. Again, I want to thank all of our Schwa Mill Telegram members for sending us files to look at. We can't do the stream without you guys. Let's jump to our second file for today and take a look at another vowel sound that tends to be a little tricky.
So if you remove that from the so-called person, and you know the difference in how you removed it.
Okay, lots of vowel sounds here, obviously because lots of words. I want to pay attention to this specifically, hard word to say in the morning, specifically the oo sound, for instance, remove in words like you and things like that.
So if you remove that from the so-called person, and you know the difference in how you removed it.
Okay, so the biggest word we're hearing again is on the word remove. So this oo sound is a challenging vowel because if you're watching this, most likely your first language has an oo sound as well. The problem is that it doesn't sound exactly like it sounds in American English, and if you use your first language oo sound, it's not going to translate great to American English. It'll be understandable and clear, but it'll also be heavily accented. We don't want like an O sound or ooh, like anything like that. You see how like I'm really round my lips on those, like ooh, ooh, ooh. You can have round lips when you do it in English, but I generally try to get students not to do that because most likely if you're watching this in your first language, you round your lips for the ooh sound. I want us to create a new association. I don't want to have any associations in English with your first language. I want to create some new associations. So what I'd like you to do is try to do this with a smile or straight lips, like ooh, 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 ooh. Do you hear how the sound's not too different whether I have straight lips or round lips? Okay, so that's a little exercise that I would encourage you to practice to be able to get that ooh sound to sound relatively the same, whether you have straight lips, ooh, ooh, ooh. That's what I'm doing with the smile, or ooh, ooh, ooh with round lips. Because for a lot of us, when we do the round lips, ooh, do you see that that now sounds different because my placement went towards my lips. And I also blocked off a lot of breath. Ooh, ooh. Not a lot of air is making it through. My throat's too tight and my mouth is a little bit too small. Versus if I relax things with round lips, I can open it up in lowered placement and switch back to ooh, ooh versus ooh, ooh, because we have to be mindful of that. We want the lower placement one. Placement is a general thing I'm noticing in this audio file. The placement for everything here is a bit higher than what I would expect in North America.
So if you remove that from the
so if you versus like so if you, do you hear a difference? So if so we want to try to get the placement down. We want to try to engage the diaphragm a little bit more because right now there's just not a lot of breath making it through. One general advice that I would give, in addition to everything I just mentioned for that ooh sound, is, for instance, if you have a word where you find your placement goes high on, start off with the vowels. So let's look at the word like remove, remove. You can say remove too. You can use a schwa sound. Let's use an E just for our purposes right now. So you have this E sound and an ooh sound. E, ooh, E, ooh. Let's just try to do the vowels with a low placement. Lots of breath. E, ooh, E, ooh. And then we can add the consonants back in. So E, ooh, remove, E, ooh, remove, E, ooh, remove. So that's the goal. Can you just pronounce the vowels on their own with a low placement, lots of breath? And then when you add the consonants in, can you still maintain that low placement and lots of breath? That's going to be the key thing there. Are you able to do that? The other thing I'm going to say is kind of goes back to what we talked about for the previous file. Can we keep our lips straight? So let's just look at that first part of the file again.
So if you remove that from the
So if you remove that versus, let's just like try smiling a little bit. I like smiling because it's relatively easy to keep track of what our lips are doing. Okay, let's just do the vowels while smiling. So we have oh, we have if, eh, we have an oo sound, ooh, then we have an e for remove, ooh. It's like oh, ooh, yeah. It's like oh, ooh, yeah. So if you remove that, oh, yeah. So if you remove that, because what we're trying to do again, keep the breath flowing. Use the lower placement, even as we add the consonant sounds back in. So that's my little challenge for you. Take a little section of speech, just identify your vowels, pronounce your vowel sounds with a low placement with lots of breath, then add your consonant sounds in and make sure nothing is shifting. That's the little exercise I would practice here because I think throughout this audio clip, our placement in general trended pretty high. All right, guys, so those are just 2 vowel sounds I would encourage you to take a look at, in addition to some general tips for pronunciation. Once again, thank you to people who are in our Schwa Mill Telegram group. If that's something you would like to join, you want to send us audio files to review in the future episode of the Schwa Mill, you are certainly welcome to join our free pronunciation group on Telegram. The link is in the description. Otherwise, I'll see you all later. Okay, thank you so much for hanging out with me. There's a lot of pronunciation resources out there in the world. I am very much aware of that. So the fact that you're spending a little bit of time outside your day with me, it's appreciated. I will see you all later. I hope you guys have a good day, have a good night, and a good afternoon. All right, take care, guys.